people, what's up? This your boy Ari. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 apps and websites for learning Mandarin Chinese. They're all amazing. They're all things I've personally used and find really incredible. They're all free. There's lots of hidden gems here. So even if you think you know Mandarin Chinese real good, I'm sure that you're going to find things that are new to you. So usually on the show we talk about kind of general tips and tricks to take your language learning to the next level. However, this one is a little different in that we're focusing specifically on Mandarin Chinese. But even if you are not learning Mandarin Chinese, some of these apps are not specific to Mandarin, so you can use them for anything, including the number one pick is not specific at all to Mandarin. So without further ado, number 10 is a fun one. It's called Malaya, or Himalayas in Chinese. And so what it is a lot of people ask me, well, where do you find good podcast? Where do you find like good audio to listen to in Mandarin Chinese? The answer, and they search in the podcast app, they can't find anything. The answer with Mandarin is unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, that audio is not in the Apple Podcast app, right? Like that, the podcasts are not on iTunes. Instead, you have to go to an app called Malaya, which is where all of the great Chinese podcasts live. Now, there are some other Chinese podcast apps. However, this is the best one, and we'll show you how that works. Alright, so Malaya. First thing to notice, by the way, is my phone is in Chinese, which if you are serious about learning Chinese, I would highly recommend that you do once you have the ability to recognize enough of these characters. So we're going to go into our little Malaya app. It's right here, all on the right. It's Ximalaya. If you just type that into the App Store, you'll be able to find it. We come over here. Let's go to, these are kind of like on this page, the most popular items. Let's go to find like different categories, right? So we have all kinds of things from music to history to talk shows. Let's go to talk shows, because I like talk shows. And we see a bunch of different talk shows. You can click into any one of them that looks interesting to you. You can see all the episodes. There's a lot here. You can download them. You have to make an account to do that, or you can just kind of click on them to stream them. And you get this really incredible audio. Now, this is really only going to be useful to you once you've achieved a certain level. But honestly, like even if you just want to listen to some audio of Chinese at work to get used to the sounds of it, it's useful for even beginners as well. ParaPara. So, do you ever find yourself wanting to browse a webpage in Chinese or reading a webpage in Chinese and running across a word and you don't know what it is, but you don't want to go look it up in your dictionary? What if there was a little extension in your browser that you could just mouse over the word and it shows you what the word means? Well, there is such an extension. It's called ParaPara, which is a little browser extension to Chrome or Firefox that allows you to mouse over any Chinese word and see the definition instantly. Let's check that out. ParaPara, how does this work? Well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to open up Firefox or Chrome, and you're just going to do a quick little search for ParaPara. Don't really know where that name comes from, right? You're going to go over here to parapara.org. And you're going to see they have a little Chinese pop-up dictionary. If you're studying Japanese, you can get their Japanese pop-up dictionary. You're going to go and download it. I already have it installed here, so I'm just going to activate it. And it gives you all this little cool information about how you can use it. And then, so let's say I'm on a website, like some kind of Chinese website, right? So let's say I did a search for Renminbi, right? And now I'm like, oh, what does this actually mean? I'm seeing some characters I don't know. Mouse over it, and voila, look at this. Look at all these little definitions I get. And the cool part about it is that it can intelligently select words within a word. So, it can give me individual character meanings, right? Or meanings of larger units, right? So remember about the People's Daily, I can see the second part, Bao, daily newspaper, and then Remen is just people. See right down there, Remen for people. So add them together, and I can know how that word is formed. So that is ParaPara for you. Number 8, iTalkie. iTalkie is an amazing service. I have used it for a very long time and spent probably way too much money with it. As I said, though, all these apps that I'm introducing are free, so you can use iTalkie without spending any money whatsoever. What it is you log on, you find a chat partner, and you start speaking to them in your language, and they start teaching you their language. So an amazing resource for finding people who speak Mandarin Chinese, especially useful if you don't live in a big city or surrounded by lots of Chinese speakers. You can go to this website, italkie.com, and I'm already logged in, so I'm going to show you how it works. So you can see here, if you click on Find a Teacher in this little top bar, you're going to be able to see, you're going to be able to search for teachers who teach, any language, right? We're going to look for Mandarin teachers. Availability, you can check a specific availability, and you can select kind of their hourly rate, any sort of tags, and let's just hit Browse. And we find all these people with their hourly rates and their reviews, and you can click on any one of them to sort of see more details about them and what they specialize in. If you would prefer not to spend money on this site, one other thing you can do is go to Community, and over here to Language Partners, right? And voila, you can find language partners to practice with Chinese. And these are basically the way this works is you would speak half an hour of with this guy you'd speak half an hour of English, and he would speak to you in half an hour of Mandarin. And these people, honestly, if you create an account and you are somebody who speaks English as a native speaker, you will get inundated with friend requests from people wanting to speak Chinese with you. So super easy to find people to learn on this site. Coming in at number 7, we have Popup Chinese. What is Popup Chinese? It's a series of Chinese learning podcasts. So I used to use this with Mandarin. I've used them in the past for Cantonese. They're really good because they give you dialogues at the appropriate level. First, so they have elementary, intermediate, advanced, and they also provide you with like a dialogue and transcripts. I think you have to pay a little extra money for the audio, for like the full transcriptions and everything like that, and the worksheets. But even if you just don't want to spend any money, it's still a really useful source of audio. Yeah, so Popup Chinese really isn't anything specific with this one. You just go to popupchinese.com and then you can kind of browse podcast archives and just see all the kind of stuff they have. So lessons for absolute beginners, elementary, intermediate, advanced. We can kind of click on any one of these and you can listen to the podcast or get, if you pay any money. I've never spent any money on this site, but if you do, you'll get transcripts and vocab and writing and all that good stuff. So really awesome resource here. ChineseForums.com is a little different from most of these recommendations in that it's not a way to directly learn Mandarin. However, you can get some amazing advice. I spent so much time on these forums just browsing for advice, asking people what their opinions about certain things were. A lot of really awesome idea generation and exchanging your experiences with fellow Chinese learners. So Chinese-forums, .com, might not look like anything spectacular, but this site is the most comprehensive site for learning Chinese, forum for learning Chinese out there on the internet. There are thousands and thousands upon thousands of posts about everything from how to get to China, what to do in China, to specific things about learning mnemonics for learning Chinese. And it goes really deep. Like, you have very basic beginner stuff here to discussions of commentaries on ancient works of Confucius. So this site is really incredible, and if you are interested in improving your study methods for Chinese, or you want to go to China, this site is really, really great. Coming in at number 5, we have CCTV. That's China Central Television. And what this is the state TV network of China has put all of their video as a live stream on their website. So you can go and just listen to and see what is being broadcast on Chinese television. I have personally clocked probably hundreds of hours with CCTV over the past few months, and I find it a really great way to just saturate your brain with Mandarin audio. Let's see how that works. Oh, rad. My personal favorite, CCTV. So do not make the mistake of just Googling CCTV and trying to find out, trying to get to it from there, because, you're just going to get stuff you don't want, like english.cctv.com, which is not relevant for you. The way to do this is you can Google it in Chinese, or you can just do what I do and just go to tv.cctv.com/live. This is the goods, people. This is the beautiful stuff. So this is going to be your platform. Yes, this is the official site for China Central Television on the internet. And There we go. Look at that. And you can see any of these channels. The CCTV one is the main channel. This is the finance channel, and we have all these different channels. And you can find the one you're interested in and just play it and immerse yourself in that good, sweet, sweet Chinese audio. iQiyi, IQiyi is you guys know that website app Netflix? Yeah, well, this is like Netflix except all free, uh, and all in Chinese, right? And the really cool thing about this is that they often will have like Hollywood movies or Western or non-Chinese shows, but just sort of dubbed and subbed into Chinese. So an amazing source for lots of great Chinese audio and visual content, again, for saturating your brain with Mandarin. I'm going to show you how to download and use that coming up. All right, we are here with the Netflix of China, iQiyi.com, IQIYI.com. So this looks like just an ordinary website, but click this little link Shadzai over here to download the app, right? So I already have the app installed, so I'm going to go over here to my app, and we can see the app, they split up into a bunch of sections. You have talk shows, funny, movies, everything you would want to watch in Chinese. So let's just like click on talk shows over here. All different languages. Let's try this one out. Cool. Cool, this is awesome. So you can just listen to whatever sort of stuff you want. Again, sometimes some of the stuff will not some of these things will not work, especially if you're not in China, but most of them will in my experience. So just a really awesome source for, number one, getting more Chinese audio exposure, but number two, just interesting to see what is popular in terms of TV shows in China. Number 3 is Pleco. I've talked about this app a million times before. This is the absolute gold standard Chinese dictionary app for your phone, Android, iOS. I think they make like a BlackBerry version or whatever too. It is the best. If you are a serious student of Chinese, you need this app. It's the basic version is free, but there's it can be. I mean, I've spent way too much money on this app, and if you want to spend money, you can build it out with the greatest collection of Chinese dictionaries in a single app the world has ever seen. So I'm going to show you some of the cool functionality in this app because there's a lot of amazing stuff that you don't really quite fully appreciate out of the box. Pleco, baby. This app is incredibly fun. There's so much here, and there's not really enough time to kind of walk you through all the features. So I'm just going to kind of generally describe to you what this thing does. This is a dictionary, but much more. Let's start by showing you the capabilities of this guy. So we can search for a dictionary, or a word, right? So let's take a common one, shi, right? Get the pinyin, we get our Cantonese. We have definitions from dozens and dozens and dozens of different dictionaries. We've got Chinese dictionaries, we have Chinese English dictionaries. I'm sure we've got a Cantonese dictionary in here too. And we have example sentences for each of these. Now, note that some of these are add-ons. Some of these dictionaries I'm using are add-ons that I've purchased, but there are quite a few free ones. So again, just tons of example sentences. We get stroke order. We get the components of the character. We get words that it's used in, other dictionary words it's used in, and then you can just get pure sentences if you just want to see the sentences where this word is used in. The other cool thing about Pleco, it has the best handwriting recognition of Chinese that exists currently. So, in my crappy no stroke order, sure, it gets it right away. And this is obviously an awful depiction of the character. Let's see, what else does this guy do? Really incredible. So you have OCR, so you can just point the camera over some Chinese characters, and you can get it'll automatically detect it for you. One of my favorite features is the documents feature. So I have a document pulled up here. This is like that thing ParaPara I was just showing you, except the cool thing about this is like it uses Pleco's built-in dictionary to look up any word, right? So whereas ParaPara is limited to a pretty small dictionary, this thing you can click on any of these words and you can kind of mouse into it and just see the full Pleco explanation and everything. So really extraordinarily impressive. We have flashcards too, so I don't really use the flashcards of Pleco too much. We'll show you that in a second, but if you really wanted to, you could use the flashcards here. And yeah, that's basically it. And just to show you again, like what the kind of add-ons that are available here, we've got handwriting, different handwritings, different audios you can buy, different fonts. I mean, all different dictionaries in all different languages. Just an incredible amount of content in this app. So again, if you are learning Chinese, you need to download this app immediately if you haven't yet. Number two, we have Bing Dictionary. Bing Dictionary is unbelievable, mind-blowing the first time you see it. So it is a sentence database. What's a sentence database? Well, if you have a particular word in mind that you are trying to look up in Chinese, rather than enter it into a normal dictionary, you can enter it into the Bing Dictionary, which brings up a huge list of example sentences, and you can mine and study these sentences to figure out how the word is actually used. And I have used this tool to bootstrap myself into lots of really complex and interesting, much heavier, more interesting grammatical structures with Mandarin. And I think using sentence databases is an amazing way to learn a language, and you can just spend hours just looking through example after example of this Bing Dictionary. Now, this app was originally developed for Chinese people looking to learn English. However, I figured out that you can use it just as easily in the other way, and it's a little tricky at first to find it and figure out, especially if you're not super familiar with Mandarin, but I can show you how to do that. All right, Bing Dictionary. So this one can be a little bit tricky to get to, especially if you're not used to searching for things in Chinese. But let's just go ahead and bookmark this link, which is just bing.com/dict. So it'll take you to this little dictionary. They do have an app, but in my experience, the app is actually not very good. It doesn't give you all the sentence stuff. So click on any of these words or enter your own word, right? Let's just try clicking on the daily word, grimace. So cool, we get a definition. This is the amazing stuff right here. This is the money. Basically, what this does, this is based on a technology that they developed, Microsoft developed, I think, internally. It was originally called Anki. But essentially what happened was they mined the internet for millions of sentences that are translated both into English and Chinese. And so you can see the word grimace used in all of these sentences, and you can see the exactly corresponding word in Chinese. So you can see dozens, thousands, millions of different definitions or usages of the word grimace in relevant Chinese sentences, and it's really amazing. And when you can take it, whenever I have a word that I'm kind of confused about that I don't know how I would say in English, like you can search for a whole phrase, right? Like, how to use help, how to learn, right? How to learn. Damn it. How to learn. So you want to search for that. This is the usage of the phrase "how to learn" in every possible sentence, right? How to learn in any different context. So if you're ever confused about how to say something, look it up in this thing first, and you will see how, and also in my experience, these sentences are very high quality, so you're not getting random garbage. These are legitimately translated sentences, are legitimate English and Chinese, which is really incredible. And this thing you can just spend hours on this thing learning, taking your Chinese to the next level using these sentences and learning grammar naturally by osmosis. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. It's basically a way to hack Chinese and to decode the Chinese language on your own. You can kind of figure out how it works using this amazing website. Unfortunately, Microsoft doesn't really promote this, I think, to Americans as much as they should, but it is freaking incredible. The other cool thing about this is you can search in Chinese rather than just English, right? So let's say you are confused or you want to know more about how a particular Chinese word is used, right? So let's say we want to look up the word renhe, right? Any. So we look that up, and we can see the usage, the natural usage in, again, millions of automatically mined sentences. And you can mouse over anything to see the pinyin or the, the corresponding Chinese word and the corresponding English word. And this is just absolutely unbelievable technology. And you can actually hear pronunciation too, if you want. Although this is sorry, they're just playing the English, because again, the important thing to notice is that this website is made for Chinese speakers trying to learn English, but in my experience, it's just as useful for English speakers looking to learn Chinese, which may or may not include you. And number one, probably a lot of you longtime subscribers will have guessed, is Anki, right? I mean, this is simply the gold standard of language learning. Trying to learn a language without Anki, in my opinion, is like trying to do a workout without doing squats, or like trying to eat pizza without the cheese, or trying to have a pod without the peas. Does that work? Sorry. But Anki is, especially in the early and intermediate stages, is a spaced repetition flashcard system for building up your vocabulary, and actually much more than that. So anyone serious about learning a language needs to pump up their vocabulary big time. Mandarin and lots of other languages are really difficult, the ones that don't have cognates with English, and you need to take your vocabulary from 0 to a lot in a short amount of time. Anki is your bet. And without Anki, you can still learn a language, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. So we have Anki, which is my #1 pick for best app to learn Mandarin Chinese, or honestly any language. So Anki is flashcards, right? So you have different decks. You can add different decks. You can change your decks. So let's go into one deck here. We're gonna add a card. The front will be hello. The back will be ni hao, right? So this is just a very, very, very basic card. We can add formatting or whatever. And then now we see our card, right? And so if we go back to our front screen, it'll show us that little 1 over there. That's just showing us how many reviews we have to do. This will sync automatically with our Anki web account on the internet. So you can use this. You'll be able to do your Anki reps on your computer or on another device. And so yeah, the idea is that these reviews will be scheduled according to when you're most likely to forget them. I don't want to go through how the spaced repetition algorithm works. You can kind of go and see why that's exactly so effective, but basically it schedules reviews for you in increasing intervals of length. So you basically spend as little time as possible to memorize, right? So like if I said hello, if I said this was really easy, I would hit 4 days all the way at the bottom right-hand corner here, and then I would get that review scheduled for me, 4 days out. Whereas if it was hard, it would get scheduled much earlier, right? So what I would recommend is using this, add 10 words a day or something like that, or whatever's compatible with your schedule. But then if you have this on your phone, you can constantly be reviewing and constantly be recalling words that you haven't heard before, or that you're trying to remember. So one other thing about Anki that's useful to note is that you can download existing decks that people have already made. So what does this mean? Well, let's check it out. So if you do a little search for Anki decks, you'll come to this website, ankiweb.net/shared/decks. You're going to go to it, and you're going to see that you can download decks in all these different categories, bunch of different languages. Also, if you're not studying languages, like if you're studying math and music or whatever, you can just click on one of these, and you can also search for things that might not show up here in these tags. But let's click on Chinese and see what we have. Just an absolute ton of decks with thousands and thousands of notes. So you can download existing decks of flashcards that people have made. And one that I want to introduce you guys to is this one, Chinese Sentences and Audio Spoon-Fed. This thing is absolutely incredible. There's 8,000 sentences here, and these sentences get progressively more difficult, and each new sentence introduces one new vocabulary word. So, and only one vocabulary word. So this is like a progressive way to build up your studying sentences naturally. You're going to study these new cards in order, and this can take you from nothing to something in Chinese if you just follow this deck, right? And so this is just one program, but it's absolutely incredible because of the stuff like this that you can download. It's amazing. Awesome. That's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you found this really outrageously useful, or at least modestly useful. So leave a note in the comments letting me know what your favorite app for learning Mandarin or any other language is. And this is Ari in Beijing. And please subscribe and check out my channel page. And I will see you next week.